Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Okay, here we go.
Where the plays get broken down and science gets denied.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Hour 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Raising Cane studio.
Welcome in hour number 2 here on a Thursday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharper with you, Alondra Villarreal, Cassie Spazzali. Sorry about that. The reason I was laughing, I just remembered my dad texted me yesterday mid-show. I guess he had tuned in or something, and he was like, what does this mean? Why does everybody in the YouTube chat keep saying River's all wet? What does that even mean? I was like, Dad, if you hear the hour 2 open, it's the song. It made me laugh. Okay, in this hour, we're going to hit a lot of different topics here. Bill Bender coming up at 8:30 with the sporting news. Yesterday, Bill laid out an entire March Madness bracket prediction. LSU not in that number, surprise to no one. But we'll look at it. Maybe some of the teams LSU's about to play coming up here in the SEC schedule. How many teams will the conference get in? What the one seeds look like? We'll break it all down a little bit, talk some March Madness with our guy, Bill Bender. LSU had a record season ticket sale recently. We'll talk about the Lane Kiffin effect here in Baton Rouge. Right now, though, I want to look at the New Orleans Saints and these free agent possibilities. The name Jeremiah Love is a name that continues to get more and more traction for an option for the Saints to take at 8 overall. I wouldn't hate it, because I think Jeremiah Love is really good. I think he's the best running back in this draft. I don't think if I am the GM of the New Orleans Saints, I'm probably picking a big-time receiver to pair next to Chris Olave, because I want to give my young quarterback as much help as I possibly can. Now, it is a deep receiver class. It's a deep edge rusher class. I mean, those are the two other positions everyone is mentioning. That class is pretty deep. While some may say you don't need a running back at 8 overall, the gap between Jeremiah Love and the second guy is probably bigger than the gap between like Desmond Bain, David Bailey, or Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate. They're all kind of right there in that same mold. But let's say they don't take Jeremiah Love. They still do need a little support in the running game. You have an aging Alvin Kamara. What in the world are you going to get from Kendre Miller? I mean, the guy stays hurt. What's going to happen there? Devin Neal showed some flashes as a rookie. I would love for Audric Estime to be back, because I think he was really good at the end of the season. But none of those guys are lead backs, at least not at this point in their career. And you don't necessarily need that. I mean, you could do a committee approach with the running backs, but I think he would like, in a perfect world, to have a lead back. Ross Jackson at LouisianaSports.net put out 2 possible big-name free agents that the Saints may go after. We'll get the first one out of the way, because it looks like all the projections are that Breece Hall will be franchise tagged by the New York Jets. It has not happened yet, but that is the prediction. But for the sake of this conversation, let's say it has not happened. Let's say Breece Hall does not get franchise tagged. Is that somebody the Saints could kick the tires on? I think, yeah. I mean, Breece Hall's 24 years old, and he had that knee injury as a rookie. I know that's a concern for some people, but when you go back and look at it, after that knee injury, he's played in at least 16 games for 3 straight seasons now. And he's been really effective in a bad offense for the New York Jets. I mean, I'm talking real bad. He just eclipsed 1,000 yards for the first time in his professional career on the ground. But he's a guy that's been productive for a number of years. I mean, just look at what he's done. Again, rookie year, he played in 7 games. He had the knee injury, but 2023, second year in the league. 994 yards, 5 touchdowns, but he averaged 4.5 a carry. However, 571 yards receiving. That's over 1,300 all-purpose yards. 2024, 876 on the ground, but another 483 through the air. Again, over 1,300 yards. Last year, he finally eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark on the ground, but then you got to add the 350 receiving. He's a guy that is super versatile, and it's a good check down option for Tyler Shuck. He's a guy that's 24 years old. The injury issue hopefully is behind him. He's been healthy for 3 years in a row now. Again, 16 games played in 3 consecutive seasons. I think Breece Hall makes a lot of sense for this team. He's kind of the size you're looking for. I mean, 5'11", 220 pounds. He ran a 4.39 in the 40. And you could say, okay, well, the touchdown numbers got to come up. I understand that, but look at how much of a difficult time he had in New York. Look at who his quarterbacks were. He had Zach Wilson for 2 years. He had Aaron Rodgers, who had an okay season with the Jets. That entire team was just all messed up with Robert Saleh getting fired midseason. I mean, that whole offense was a mess. And this year, Justin Fields was his quarterback. I mean, think about how much defenses have keyed in on Breece Hall, and he still had success like that. If you put him in a Saints offense with Tyler Shuck, who defenses have to respect, I think Breece Hall could have a breakout year for the New Orleans Saints. And a guy at 24 years old, depending on what his contract situation looks like, he's a guy you could give a 2-3 year deal to if you wanted to. He's just now entering his prime. I really like that option. But again, it is worth noting he will likely be franchise tagged by the New York Jets. That is the projection right now. At the moment, he has not been. A guy that looks like he will not be franchise tagged and will test the free agent market is Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would love this fit in New Orleans. I think he is exactly the type of running back they need. I mean, 5'10", 215 pounds. You look at what Travis Etienne's been in the NFL. He hasn't been a super efficient runner. However, I think that had a lot to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Look at Liam Cohen coming in this year. Trevor Lawrence had a career year. Travis Etienne had a career year. I mean, that offensive line in front of Etienne the first 2 or 3 years he was in the league was poor. I thought their coaching was really poor as well. Look at what he did a season ago. 260 carries, 1,100 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. But he really flashed through the air. 6 receiving touchdowns on the season. So he had 13 total and another 300. He's a guy who's a lot like Breece Hall. I mean, in 4 years in the NFL, Travis Etienne's approaching 1,400 yards receiving and caught 168 passes. He's another guy, plays very similar to how Alvin Kamara did. And Travis Etienne's 26 years old. A little bit older than Breece Hall, but, I mean, not the injuries. Look at the number of games he has played. 17, 17, 15, 17. Travis Etienne's been about as healthy as you can ask for. And even behind that really poor offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars, 3 out of his 4 years, he's eclipsed 1,000 yards rushing. 1,125 as a rookie, 1,000 in 2023, 1,100 last year. And he's averaging over 4 yards per carry. If the Saints' offensive line can continue to get better, and again, pair him with a Tyler Shuck, with a really good play caller like Kellen Moore. You saw what he did in an offense with a good play caller like Liam Cohen. I don't see why he can't have that same success under a guy like Kellen Moore. I'm not saying he's not a good running back. He's one of the best running backs in the league, but look at Saquon Barkley and that entire Philadelphia Eagles offense this year without Kellen Moore. To me, that was the biggest stamp in the Kellen Moore category as far as in favor of him than anything he did with the Saints this year was how bad the offense was in Philadelphia. They fired their offensive coordinator after a year. So they're on their second coordinator since Kellen Moore, and he hasn't even been gone. He's been gone 18 months. And they're on offensive coordinator number 2. Saquon took a step back in efficiency. Jalen Hurts was all over the place. He was erratic at times. All of that without Kellen Moore. With Kellen Moore, they were dominant. Saquon Barkley was the best player in the league, and they won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Saints are Super Bowl contenders next year, but Kellen Moore is going to get the absolute most out of these playmakers. Travis Etienne's a playmaker. He's a guy that's been so under the radar. I mean, I remember coming into this season, the talk all offseason long, I never figured out why, was Travis Etienne's going to lose his starting job to Tank Bigsby. Like, that's going to happen. And you turn on the first preseason game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Travis Etienne is the starting running back. No, doesn't matter. It's still going to be Tank Bigsby, trust me. That's what everybody said. I never really understood why. Because, again, ETN did about as good as he could have on a really bad offense in Jacksonville for 3 years. And what happened before the season started, they traded Tank Bigsby out of town, and he was the third-string running back for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. And Travis Etienne had a career year. 260 yards, 1,100 rushing, 7 touchdowns. He's a guy that has been very productive. I mean, 3,800 yards rushing in 3 years in the NFL is really, really good. 25 touchdowns. But for whatever reason, he's just been an under-the-radar guy, probably because he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and people forget they're an NFL franchise half the time. He's just one of those guys, to me, that makes a lot of sense for New Orleans. I would be happy with a Jeremiah Love. I would be content with it. I would come in here on a Friday on OTB, the morning after round 1 of the NFL draft. I don't think anybody in this room or any of the other shows on this station would say, the Saints absolutely botched it, terrible draft pick, they should have picked Jeremiah Love. I think the response would be, Jeremiah Love's a really good player. I think he's going to make a lot of plays for the Saints. I probably would have went a different direction, but hopefully it works out. That should be your response if the Saints draft Jeremiah Love. But if they don't, and I don't think they should, Travis Etienne is a very good option for him. Again, 26 years old, you could give him a multi-year deal. He would slide in and be your RB1 right away. I like Alvin Kamara. He's done a lot for this franchise, but let's call it like it is. I mean, Alvin Kamara is a declining player. He is in and out of the lineup last year with injuries, and even when he was on the field, again, a lot of it not his fault, but look at what he's done the last 3 years. In 2023, 694 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, 3.9 a carry. In 24, it went up a tick, 4.2 a carry. This year, a career low, 3.6 yards per carry, scored 1 rushing touchdown. Alvin Kamara has done a lot of good for this team for a number of years. But 3 years in a row, I mean, in 2024, he almost had 1,000 yards rushing. It was 950. The efficiency wasn't quite there, and then the worst yards per carry of his career came this past year. I get it. The offensive line was awful. And I just said the same thing about Travis Etienne, about how when he was put in a better position to succeed, he was right there. The problem with Alvin Kamara is he just finished his age 30 season. He's going to be 31 years old at some point next year. Travis Etienne's 26. Breece Hall's 24. Love Kamara. I think he still has a role on this team. But if you want to bring in a productive running back that you know can get the job done, bring in one of these guys. Spend your first-round pick on a Jordan Tyson, a Carnell Tate. Hell, you could even go edge rusher if you fall in love with a guy and he falls to number 8. I would go receiver. I think you need playmakers on the outside. Because let's say you do add Travis Etienne, for argument's sake. You would then have Etienne, Kamara, Kendre Miller, provided he's healthy. We're not sure what his future is going to look like in New Orleans. Devin Neal, who I thought showed flashes at times. And Audric Estime, who had a good end of the year. That's a really good running back room. You would have a lead back, but none of these guys would be required to have 300 carries on the year. Like, you can look at the numbers, raw numbers, and say, oh, well, Breece Hall's only rushed for over 1,000 yards one time. And Travis Etienne, his efficiency's been down at times in Jacksonville. The Saints did not have a 500-yard rusher this year. They need all the help they can get. I think the O-line's going to be better. I think you're finally set at the quarterback position, and you're sitting pretty at number 8 overall because you have your quarterback of the future. You could go a lot of different ways. Jeremiah Love could be one of the options. I would go elsewhere and maybe look in free agency for a running back. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, LSU, a lot of season ticket sales. The raw numbers came out yesterday. We're looking at all next, and how the Lane Kiffin effect is in full swing here in Baton Rouge. That's coming up next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Somebody that will never blow a lead, that is Tommy. Windows, doors, and siding. GoTommys.com. Geaux. Tommys with a Y.com is the website. You will clearly see the difference when you work with Tommy and the team. They're not going to blow a lead. They're just going to win awards because that's what they do. They stack banners. They stack
But not
awards
every year, right?
every single year, bud.
They don't
not every
like,
4
they don't-
years.
They don't spread the trophies
No.
for every company.
No, they don't.
Trophies for
They would
everybody?
never let Canada make a comeback either. Go to GoTommies.com.
All right, GoTommies.com. They are the best windows, doors, siding. We're talking about Hardy Plank siding. I'm a vinyl windows, siding, whatever it is. They're amazing. Just talk to them about your project. If you're building a new house, if you're renovating, maybe you just want to do a little upgrade on your doors or change them. You got some rotted windows, rotted doors, whatever it is. Anything they install, lifetime warranty, the best in the business. That's why they win awards every single year. GoTommies.com.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Remind you about our friends over at Oshner Health. When it comes to your health, you want a team that you can trust. That's why so many families across Louisiana choose Oshner Health. From primary care to advanced specialty care, Oshner brings together top physicians, innovative technology, and convenient locations all across the state. So whether it's a routine checkup, a sports injury care situation, heart health, or something a little bit more serious, they are with you every step of the way. Healthcare isn't one size fits all. We tell you that all the time. It is personal, and at Oshner, your care is built around you. So take control of your health today. You can visit oshner.org to find a provider or schedule an appointment. And I tell you all the time, man, when we were putting together Elite Training Academy, they were certainly the partner that we wanted. It's been a great partnership. You can visit that location of Burbank as well. All right.
Welcome back in. Thursday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you. Alondra Villarreal, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride as well. Thanks for hanging out with us here this morning. Guys, the Lane Kiffin effect is 100% real, whether you want to believe it or not. So, Matt Moscona on After Further Review was joined by Verge Alsbury on Tuesday, and Verge said that LSU had 44,000 people on the football season ticket waiting list. And apparently before that, the most they had ever had was 17,000. Verge said it's Lane Kiffin, it's the team he recruited, the players he brought in, and the great home schedule we have. Obviously, LSU opens up at home against Clemson. They'll host A&M and Alabama. Both of those teams made the college football playoff a year ago. Texas and Arch Manning will make their first visit to Baton Rouge since 1953. For years, everybody's been asking for that return trip from 2019. Well, you got it. But when you look at the total number of season tickets, we have it here. You can read the article on LouisianaSports.net. An LSU spokesperson told LSN that season tickets are sold out with approximately 71,250 sold, and renewals were near 98%. Guys, I appreciate Verge talking about the great home schedule. I'm excited about the home schedule. This is Lane Kiffin. This is what you get when you hire a guy who is a rock star among college football, like this guy right here, Lane Kiffin. You had to expect this. Whether you wanted Lane Kiffin here or not, you had to know that if LSU hired him, the minute he stepped foot on campus, this is what you were going to get. And honestly, it's what LSU needed. Look, I have loved this LSU football program my entire life. I fell in love with LSU football at like 5 years old. I mean, I remember LSU versus North Texas in Tiger Stadium. First game I ever went to. I was hooked. I mean, I went to every home game during the 2007 National Championship season. I watched Jake and Matt play that National Championship in the Superdome and when I was in the 6th grade. Still my favorite sporting event that I've ever been to. And I will admit that the last 3 or 4 years, it's just been kind of stale for me, guys. And I love covering the team, but the past couple of years covering the team, it has felt more like a job than actually being a fan of the university. And that's okay because, I mean, it kind of is a job, but I would like it to be both. I have the ability to separate fandom versus, hey, let me break it down for you. Here's how it is. I'm not going to cut any corners just because I'm a fan of this team, but it was a team that was hard to pull for. We talked about it last year a little bit. Even when LSU was winning games late in the season, they weren't fun to watch. Like, yeah, it was great that LSU beat Clemson and everybody was excited about it because it was your first time winning a season opener since 2019. I was fired up as hell watching it from the house. But you didn't realize that that game wasn't a one-off. It was a sign of things to come. I was in Orlando at Universal Studios for the second game of the year when LSU was playing Louisiana Tech. And my gosh, I was glad I didn't have to watch it and only had to listen to Chris Blair on the broadcast. Because that was abysmal. You beat up on Southeastern, fine. And then you play Ole Miss, and then you knew you had a big problem. Even when LSU was winning games last year, they were not fun to watch. Did anybody enjoy watching LSU versus Arkansas this year? I enjoyed it because they won in the last minute of the game. But outside of that last drive, it was kind of a snooze fest. I mean, you could count on one hand the number of big moments Brian Kelly had here at LSU. Going for 2 against Alabama, winning that game, great. That was awesome. Winning the West year 1 under Kelly, great. You choked it away at the end of the season when you got rolled over by Texas A&M somehow. The overtime win 2 years ago against Ole Miss right here in Baton Rouge. That's it. I mean, outside of that, can you think of a game, win or loss, that had a bunch of juice under Brian Kelly? I mean, hand up when LSU moved on from Brian Kelly and there were so many candidates being talked about, Lane Kiffin was the one name that so many fans latched on to. Me, Alondra, Jake, Matt, everybody kind of said, hey, at least on this show, we'd be happy with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's a good coach, but there's more than just Lane Kiffin out there. I was always a big fan of Kenny Dillingham. I saw him take Arizona State to the college football playoff. Should have beat Texas if not for a missed targeting call. And I saw Sam Levitt in the portal, and I was like, hey, your best option to get Sam Levitt's probably to hire Kenny Dillingham, bring him over. Little did I know what Lane Kiffin was about to do. Lane Kiffin went and got Sam Levitt. He went and got Jordan Seaton, the number 1 left tackle in all of college football, in the transfer portal. He got Prince Will Uman-Mielen. He went and got TJ Dottery, who was Ole Miss's leading tackler a year ago. This transfer portal class is so stacked, I feel like we don't even talk about TJ Dottery. Ty Benefield, who was a top 3 safety in the transfer portal from Boise State, played a lot of big-time football, played the college football playoff 2 years ago. Yeah, he's an LSU Tiger. Everything Lane Kiffin has had to do along the way, he's nailed it. Like, I'm not saying Lane Kiffin's going to win a national championship year 1, but there's excitement around this program. There's a buzz that hasn't been here for me since after LSU beat Texas in 2019, and I was like, hang on a second, we got a little something going. This offense is different than what we've seen in the past. I was on cloud 9 after that Texas game because I was like, okay, you beat Georgia Southern, great. What are you going to do against the Longhorns? You go perform like that in DKR against that Texas team? I get it, didn't finish the season like everybody thought they would, but at that point, with them, Sam Ehlinger, those receivers, they had a lot of hype around that team, and you took over that stadium, you could feel there was something different. There's just a different feel in the air right now. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin's going to win the national title year 1, but he has certainly brought a much-needed spark to this program. Everyone seems to gravitate towards Lane Kiffin. The media. Think about how big he was covered when he decided to leave Ole Miss and go to LSU. That was national news for 3 weeks. It was kind of made a lot bigger deal and blown out of proportion than it probably would have if it wasn't Lane Kiffin, if it was another coach. I get they were going to the college football playoff and all that, but a lot of coaches jumped ship and went to other teams. It's the Lane Kiffin effect. We've talked about it here. Look at all the players he retained. Trey'Dez Green, DJ Piggott. You got Barry and Durham back. For the players, it's Lane Kiffin. Blake Baker looked like he was going to get the Tulane job. He decided to stay here in Baton Rouge. Charlie Weiss Jr. had multiple options. He could have stayed at Ole Miss. He could have went to multiple NFL teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers showed a lot of interest in him. He decided to stick with Lane Kiffin. Just earlier this week, it looked like Jake Olson was going to go and coach for Washington in the NFL. He decides to come back and coach under Lane Kiffin. This is exactly what this city and this program needs. And again, you still have to go out there on the field. You still have to do it. You still have to win these games. But this program's trending in the right direction, and there's more juice under us now than I've seen in quite some time. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we'll shift gears to college basketball. Bill Bender of the Sporting News, he put out his entire field of 68 bracket where teams fall. We're breaking down a little March Madness next. You're on Off the Bench.
Off the bench.
All right, go to centralplumbing.org, the one-stop shop for all of your plumbing needs, but not only in Central. It is the entire greater Baton Rouge area. We are talking to you. If you have any plumbing issue, they are always going to be there for you 24/7, 365 weekend, holiday game day. Today, first pitch, 2 o'clock. And if you have an issue, trust me when I say they're still going to be there. 225-500-0774. 225-500-0774. That is the number. Call them today, centralplumbing.org.
Right, centralplumbing.org. And like Jake said, that's like a huge resource to have. Just knowing that if anything ever goes wrong at your place of work, at your home, with a plumbing, like they can call, and it doesn't matter what is happening. It doesn't matter if it's the bottom of the ninth. It doesn't matter if there's a huge gold medal race happening in the Olympics. They will come. They will service your every single need right there. Centralplumbing.org.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
We all know hard work, not just a slogan. It's a way of life, and that's exactly what you get with Pala. Founded right here in Louisiana, proudly 100% employee-owned, something we always want to remind you about. Pala has been delivering industrial construction, specialty services, and power solutions since 1973. So from heavy industrial projects to safety services and advanced specialty applications, their companies serve critical industries across the Gulf Coast and certainly beyond. So when the job demands precision, safety, and experience, Pala delivers every single time. Employee-owned means every project matters, every detail counts. You can learn more about their full family of companies at palagroup.com. That is P-A-L-A group.com. Pala Group.
Welcome back in. Thursday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in here with you. Want to go out to the phone lines right now. Welcome in our guy Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Bill, how are you this morning?
Hey, Taylor. Thanks for having me on. How you doing, man?
Absolutely. I am doing well. Bill, I was every time you put something out, I make sure to read it because, I mean, you know, I was talking to Jacob Hester not long ago, and, you know, he's the one that connected you and I a while back. And I'm like, you know, Jake, it doesn't really matter the sport. Bill is the guy to call. Like, you're just a wealth of knowledge. So I wanted to go kind of a little March Madness preview here because a few days back you put out the March Madness bracket prediction 3.0 of Bill Bender. And, you know, I was looking at it a little bit and want to kind of to highlight a few things. Obviously, when you look at the field, you got your one seeds, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, and Houston. Bill, out of that group, I mean, who do you think would be like your number one overall seed? Like a lot of people talk about Arizona. They've dropped a few games here and there. Michigan's been dominant all year. I mean, right now for you, like who is the best number one seed out of that group?
Oh, Michigan's the best team in the country until Saturday. You know, when they play Duke, they have 9 guys that can put the ball in the basket. They have a great quad one track record. They're going into Big Ten venues and, you know, they've won at Breslin and beat Michigan State. They went into Purdue and won and commanded that game. It's a really good basketball team, but it doesn't mean they can't lose to Duke on Saturday. And those Big 12 teams are in the mix. And I think Florida out of the SEC has just been as hot as any team in the country. So UConn loses last night. So it's a very fluid number one seed line, but I think Michigan has stood out a little bit more than anybody else so far.
Speaking of the Florida Gators, I'm glad you mentioned them. You have them at the 3 seed right now. Like they're 19-6 overall, but Bill, they're 10-2 in the SEC. I mean, right now they kind of look far and away the best team in that conference. They're on a pretty impressive run right now. What is the highest? Like, if Florida continues on this run that they're on right now, what is the highest Florida could be seeded? I mean, right now they're at 3. How much could they improve on that?
I think they could be a number one, and I'm not just saying that to like say it. I mean, the path is not that difficult. I mean, the Big 12 teams will sort themselves out. The Big 10 teams will, sort themselves out. So I think you'll have at least one Big 12 1 seed, one Big 10 1 seed. Duke probably be that team out of the ACC unless they get a couple bruises. And so it comes down to, let's say Florida only lost like one more game, won the SEC tournament championship. They would have a very compelling case to be a number 1 seed over a UConn who lost to Creighton, but there aren't a lot of tournament teams out of the Big East. I'm going to tell you what, the SEC basketball is solid. It's a lot of fun. I just got, how you get like roped into a game?
Right.
I just kept watching Alabama, Arkansas last night.
It was
just
electric.
kept watching it. What a great game that was.
Speaking of the SEC, let's just stick there since we were just talking Florida. I mean, how many teams could we realistically see out of that conference make the big dance?
I mean, all the way down to Missouri, basically. Can Missouri get in the tournament? I think Auburn's going to be on. It really depends on Missouri and Auburn. Where does Auburn go? Their Ken Palm and net rankings are really good, but they've lost a couple games. Texas A&M should get in. I think you could get double-digit teams again. Not out of the question. It's just a matter of which one of those couple teams there at the bottom drift off. Georgia and Texas, it was a little tenuous for them a couple weeks ago, but Texas is probably looking a little bit better now. So, it's super competitive, kind of like the conversations I have with you about football, that I don't know how many national championship contenders are in the conference.
Right.
There are a ton of teams that could make the Final Four.
Bill, transitioning out of the SEC to a team that everybody seems to be talking about right now. You have them as a 10 seed in this bracket prediction. That is, of course, Miami, Ohio, undefeated right now. How good is this team?
Oh, they're really good. And look, I'm going to be a Mac homer here. I went to Ohio.
Right.
That was the rival for Miami. I don't necessarily like Miami because of that, but this team's awesome. They remind me of the Miami team that they had my freshman year of college. That's how long it's been, when they had Wally Zerbiak. And there's big reason why he's been out there a little bit. This is an excellent Miami team. 4 guys that can shoot three-pointer. I think, and I'm biased, even if they lose a game or two, they should be in the tournament. And you can do, if they lose in the MAC tournament and you get a second MAC bid, right now they're about a number 10 seed. I think if they keep winning, they should be higher. So they are a fun story. Travis Steele's done a nice job with them. There's only so many nice things I can say about a rival school for my alumni. But, that last one, they do come to the Convo in Ohio University. It'd be interesting if the Bobcats could play spoiler there.
I'm sure you would hate if the Bobcats played spoiler there on Miami, Ohio. Bill, I didn't want to open up old wounds for you and talk about the rival school, but I had to bring up Miami of Ohio. Of course, they have had an excellent season. Let's stick there, kind of the lower seeds in your projected bracket, because look, Miami, Ohio right now you have them as a 10 seed, but every year there's a team. When everyone wants to fill out their brackets, they always try to pick one dark horse, and they're like, hey, this is my Cinderella team to go to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, whatever it may be. Is there a dark horse team for you right now that you think could maybe make a run in March?
I'm not sure about that. St. Louis is not really a dark horse either. They're having a fantastic season. The Billikens with Robbie Avila, so we'll get to see him all over again, and they're really good. In that 13 to 16 range, Belmont's always dangerous. They're always a team, but they got to get in the tournament first. Some of these teams that are in that 13 to 16 range, I think we're going to hear a little bit more about them if they get in the tournament in particular. North Dakota State, they're having a big year. They go up to the FBS in football, and they've been really good in their conference in basketball. So the Bison could have one of these landmark years for the program. I did chuckle when I saw Lenardi's bracketology had Michigan playing App State in the first round. That's just paying attention to your history on the football side. There's no question. I think that would get a lot of reaction if that game actually happened.
Bill, Michigan fans would hate that. That probably still keeps them up at night.
They would be nervous. They would be nervous, no question.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News, our guest right now. Bill, looking at your bracket, the field of 68, you got 4 teams that are on the bubble right now: Missouri, Ohio State, New Mexico, Seton Hall. Right now, if the season were to end today, which of those teams do you think is most likely to make that final field?
I think think Missouri, as long as they can win a couple more games and, maintain a decent record in the SEC, Ohio State would be a close second. Ohio State's the team that we're going to debate all the way through Selection Sunday based on those quad one components, right? Like that they haven't beat a quad one opponent. And they've got an opportunity this weekend against Michigan State to do that. But this Ohio State team, I think sometimes I watch them, I'm like, yeah, it's a tournament team. And other times it's like, no, they're really not. And that's where, when you're in that spot where Missouri and Ohio State are, the thing you got to watch for is that scenario I was just saying. Like, if St. Louis loses, are they still in the tournament? If Miami loses, are they still in the tournament? How many bid thieves will there be in the conference tournament week, which is coming up closer than we think, right? So I think it'll be a lot of fun to figure that out. But the long-winded way of answering your question, I'd give a slight edge to Missouri, but that really is tenuous as well.
Bill, before we get you out of here, do you mentioned Michigan, best team in the country. Is that your favorite right now to win it all in March? Or you think, look, obviously there's craziness in March Madness. That's why we call it that, right? Or is this Michigan's to lose right now?
Well, they've had good teams in the past. And, this Big Ten, when we get into March, the Big Ten's national championship drought's going to come into focus again. I'm 46 years old. I was a sophomore in college the last time the Big Ten won a national championship in basketball. It's crazy to me. Michigan State in 2000. So there will be a lot of pressure on Michigan from that standpoint. I do think if I was filling out a bracket today, I would probably put some combination of Michigan, Duke, or Houston in the championship game. I still like Houston a lot because of that defense, and of course they're playing Arizona this weekend. It's like a mini Final Four on Saturday, by the way. So, but yeah, I would pick Michigan with the understanding that I've watched Michigan national championship caliber teams not win the national title with the Fab Five and with Trey Burke and, with John Beilein. So there'd be a lot of pressure on those Wolverines, but man, they have an extra gear. They are very, very good under Dusty May.
All right, well, just one more for you here, Bill. You mentioned, kind of a mini Final Four here. Obviously, Houston, Arizona matching up, Michigan with the big game as well. Who do you like in those two matchups?
Well, I think, obviously I'm going to take Houston in the first one. And then that second one, it's a tough one to call because it's going to bring up, I growing up in Big Ten country, one of the most memorable regular season games I ever watched was the Fab Five versus Duke in the regular season at Chrysler Arena. It was an unbelievable game. Michigan lost to Christian Laettner in overtime. And I'm wondering if this will be that kind of memorable game. I'm going to pick Michigan to win. But man, Duke is with Boozer and the amount of talent they have, anything goes. I'm wondering, what I'm wondering, Taylor, what the TV ratings on that will be. I wonder how many people are tuning into that game. I think they're going to be surprising. Maybe it's just me. I think the ratings for that Duke Michigan game are going to be off the charts.
I'm gonna be tuned in. That's the game that everybody's kind of circled for a few weeks now. Once they realized it was coming up. Bill, you have been a wealth of information as always. Look, guys, if you want to see more of Bill's stuff, go to thesportynews.com. You can see his full breakdown, detailed breakdown, field of 68 projected, and a whole lot more from Bill. Bill, thanks for hopping on with me today.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was Bill Bender of the Sporty News. We will take a quick timeout. Coming back, we're closing out hour number 2. You're on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
All right, go to pelicanroof.com, the website for Pelican Roofing in Lafayette, in Baton Rouge. They are boots on the ground in both locations, ready to help you. So if you need a roof repair, roof replacement, whatever it might be, they have got you covered, and they've got you covered with the best customer service, with the best work. That's why you go to the website, pelicanroof.com. You see 5-star reviews all over the homepage, and that's actual customers that have worked with Pelican Roofing. So don't delay. If you need anything when it comes to your roof, go to pelicanroof.com.
Sorry, Pelican Roof, pelicanroof.com. If you are starting a project, whether it's a new build, whether it's renovation, maybe it's just a roof repair. You got a leak. You got an old roof, whatever it is. It's just that time. Make sure you give them a call. And we know it's a big decision that you're going to have to make for your family. and yourself, and financially, it can make a big impact. So go let them help you with the financing. Financing options right there at their homepage. Get the entire process started at pelicanroof.com.
Fiction. 2007 champs, purple and gold to the core. This is Off the Bench with Hester and Flynn, Baton Rouge's go-to for all things Louisiana sports.
Welcome back in. Final segment here in hour 2 of a Thursday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you. Lodge Villarreal, Cassie Spazzali. Cassie, you okay?
I'm struggling.
You'll be fine. Guys, Lent does different things to different people. I explained the other day that it's a good thing I'm not Catholic. I couldn't do Lent. I couldn't do it. Cassie, I'm someone who knows my limitations. Like I explained to Alondra, I was like, I use that as an excuse because like she made the point like, well, even though you're not Catholic, you could still give up for Lent. And I'm like, no. That's my built-in excuse. I don't want a reason to do difficult things. Like that. I'm a weak-minded individual and I know my limitations. That's fine. It's no big deal. But look, I wish you luck.
Yeah.
You're one day in.
I did it last year.
I know.
I survived last year.
I would have chose something else, but
however, last year I did cheat and I got canes instead, which is not very a good
you're
replacement.
Good. No,
so
you're good.
My goal is to like not replace it with something else. Like just
I get you.
I can't cheat and just I'm not gonna get Chick-fil-A, so I'm gonna go get canes.
Oh, how'd the ashes go yesterday? You got yours.
Yeah.
Cassie, did you get your ashes?
I did, but for the first time ever, they didn't draw like a cross on my forehead. They just like sprinkled it on top of my head.
Wait, what?
I've
sprinkled it on you?
Yes, like I've been Catholic my whole life, and that's never happened.
Ever.
Did you go to a different place, or is this?
I went to the church on LSU's campus, Christ the King, which I usually
Maybe
go there.
Was there a bunch of people?
Yeah.
Maybe they were just like.
Yeah.
We're like, here, go.
Like I went at 8:00 at night, so I don't know if they were just like, just get out of here or whatever.
I brought
They were
up
trying to conserve
like,
the
that was
ashes.
Right.
They had.
so weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I've never in my life had ashes sprinkled on me.
Yeah, and like I am very close with my priest, like at the church at home, and so like I texted him. He hasn't responded yet, but I was like, why did they do this? Because I've literally been Catholic my whole life and I've never seen this before.
It was probably one of those things where, like Alondra said, just like grab and go. Like I mentioned, we talked about this the other day. My dad, growing up in Alexandria, he said they had a drive-through funeral home where they would prop up the casket at the window. You could pull up if you couldn't stop in and pay your respects and go. Maybe it's something like that. Alondra, you played softball in high school. What would you consider a lot of runs scored in a softball game?
Well, are we talking about Oklahoma?
Yeah, you said this the other day, and it literally did not register.
The El Paso one?
And I went back and looked at it yesterday.
Okay, I'm curious, though. Tell the people the score. It was like 36.
It was 34 to nothing.
34-0.
34 to nothing. They beat the poor U in 5 innings, by the way.
Right, duh. Did you find how long that game lasted? Because that's what I'm curious about. Like, how long was that game?
That's got to be the longest 5-inning game, like I would imagine.
It doesn't tell you on the box score?
Let's see. I got the box score right here.
Sometimes it might. Or like on the stats.
Yeah, let me get a stat. I can't find it right now. But anyways,
let me see if I can find it.
Scoring by inning, Oklahoma put up an 8 spot in the first. UTEP was great in the second inning. Oklahoma didn't score any runs in the second inning. No big deal. They followed that up with 12 in the third and none in the fourth. Okay? 14 runs in the fifth inning. 14 runs in the fifth inning to end that thing.
They had like 2 grand slams, I think, or something.
Yeah, they had a lot of hits. My question would
24.
be 24?
I think that's how many hits they had, yeah.
It was a lot. 25 hits and 34 RBI, obviously. they only struck out one time. So 25 hits, 34 runs, they struck out once. That's pretty good. And they had 10 walks. So the majority of them were hits. I mean, 25 hits to just 10 walks. My question is Oklahoma's softball program actually underrated?
No. I mean, they've been like on the top of the thing the entire, like for years since Patty Gasso's been the coach.
I just feel like nationally we don't like, because UConn women's basketball, when they won the 4 straight under Gino Auriemma, like that was everywhere. Oklahoma won 4 straight national titles, 21-24, and I feel like people just kind of forgot about it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like too in it to like see it from another view, but I don't feel like Oklahoma's underrated. But maybe I'm like, I don't know. They're like a historically good program.
They're insane. They have 8 national titles from 2000 to 2024, including 4 straight. And
it was like, and then the in between, it was like every other.
Yeah, so it was 13, 16, 17.
Yeah.
So they went 16 and 17 back to back, skipped 3 years, 4 straight. I mean, that's one of the best modern dynasties we've seen in college across any sport.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be the best. Like, yeah, I get it, Gino Auriemma and UConn, but Oklahoma obviously still really good this year.
They have a stranglehold on the softball world, yeah.
And I mean, like, it's not even close. And like, they're not ranked number 1 right now. Like, they've lost 2 games already this year, but they went that period of time where they had lost like 1 game total in 2 years. Like, I didn't realize just how dominant they were. I mean, I knew they were. And like, to your point, like you're somebody, you played softball, you're locked into softball, but like, I feel like the average sports fan, it's kind of been glossed over. I've kind of glossed over it. Like, I knew they won a few championships here and there. I went back and looked yesterday. I was literally scrolling through our group text, saw the graphic you had sent, and was like, that's incredible. So shout out Oklahoma softball, 34 runs. All right, on the other side, we got hour 3 of OTB. We got Big Deal or No Big Deal coming up next.
Off the bench.